Yes, my name is Jaymen Johnson, and I own a social club that is one of the ones in question. And while I can understand and partially agree with a moratorium on opening any new social consumption lounges, and I wholeheartedly agree with the need to license and regulate the current establishments, I am baffled by the inclusion of medical marijuana into this moratorium at all. It just doesn't seem to stand to reason. It seems prejudicial against marijuana in general when you include the medical licensed community. Some of these people have rented the facilities for several months, working diligently to make the facilities comply so that they could obtain these licenses. To suddenly, bring a moratorium on them seems, counterintuitive. Also, it seems like it would push people towards the gray area. I mean, there's still a large loophole in the moratorium. It doesn't address the donation model. It doesn't address the rewards model. So what keeps a pipe or glass shop from selling a pipe and giving free cannabis with that pipe, or a bong and giving free cannabis with that? All you're doing is taking the organizations that are trying to comply, and you're pushing people towards unlicensed, unregulated means of business. I don't think that that's what we're wanting to propose to people, is that there's more comfort, there's less resistance and more comfort and protection in finding a loophole in a gray area and nesting there than applying for these licenses and trying to go through due process. And the moratorium doesn't address this at all. I, for one, am for regulation, though. I'm for licensing. I am against over-regulation. I'm against. It shouldn't be harder for a dispensary to open a dispensary than it is for a pharmacy to open. It shouldn't be harder for a consumption lounge to open than it is for someone to open a bar. We saw what it was like for them to go through the process to open a brewery. I'm not asking for it to be any easier. I'm asking that it not be any more difficult, or that we be treated any differently than any other business. So that's my feelings on it.
Thank you, Jaymen.
Thank you. My name is Jaymen Johnson. I own Speakeasy Vape Lounge, one of the cannabis clubs that we're talking about. I just wanted to come and reiterate that I am baffled by the inclusion of medical marijuana in this. I see that it has been separated, and I think that's a good idea. I think we can all agree marijuana is not the problem. Licensed, unregulated industry is the problem. It's the problem anywhere. Nothing keeps someone, there's a big loophole in this moratorium that I think the legal representatives have done a good job of illustrating. Nothing keeps me from renting a bar. Nothing keeps me from getting a business license, but I'm not allowed to distribute alcohol at the bar without a conjoining license. Okay, that makes sense, all right? This moratorium, even if you keep clubs from opening, another business model will just fill that need. You can have a pipe or glass shop that gives away gifts. The resources and time spent here is being misdirected. What we need to do is come out with ordinances that prohibit people and organizations with business licenses from gifting cannabis without a conjoining license. It's that simple. Take it. You can't give marijuana as a gift as a business, or if you bear a business license, unless you've also applied for this conjoining license. Then education needs to be brought in. A comprehensive training program, much like TIPS is for alcohol. This was a problem that was foreseen a long time ago with alcohol. And they have developed a TIPS program where they teach waitresses and bartenders how to recognize when someone's too inebriated, what to do, what steps to take if they notice this, how to teach people to consume alcohol responsibly, how to treat a 21-year-old versus a 35-year-old who's been drinking for 14 or more years. This is what we need to be directing our attention towards. These efforts are moot. There's a huge hole right in the middle of the donut that is this moratorium. It doesn't address the underlying issue. So, and then to include medical marijuana in it at all, or to link or parallel the two, is just prejudicial in my opinion. The two don't have anything to do with each other. I hear, some people trying to make parallels between the two. Well, if there's parallels, then we can join them in the licensed industry. I have no issue with that. What I ask is that you don't make it something ridiculous or prejudicial against marijuana again by making it harder than it would be to open a bar or harder than it would be to open a microbrewery. We need to look at structure, not prohibiting. So
exercise going back and forth.
I could use it. Again, my name is Jaymen Johnson. I own Speakeasy Vape Lounge, which is one of the cannabis clubs outside the medical industry, but I'm here to talk on behalf of the medical industry. If I could touch on again, what was the reasoning behind the moratorium? It's to defeat the black market? You're going to limit the number of plants a private individual can grow and then deny them a license to do it legitimately? And that's going to kill the black market. Is that, I really am asking for a response to that. Is that the intent of the moratorium again?
Mr. Knight?
Because I thought that's what I heard mentioned.
I've never heard that comment.
No, that's not what I said. I'll be happy to explain it to you offline.
Okay.
Next break.
I apologize. That's what I had heard at one point, was that limiting the number that an individual can grow and then denying them a license would somehow kill off the black market and the issues we have there. So that's what I had thought I had heard. I am interested to know where the liquor industry, Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, these known distillers would be at the end of alcohol prohibition if this was the council they had come in front of. When they said, hey, we don't want to do it illegally anymore, we'd like to do it legitimately. No, we're not giving out licenses then. That doesn't, I don't know where liquor would stand right now if that's the mentality we took towards it. And then as far as medical goes, why we would want to deny the expansion of licensed, regulated industry is without reason, without cause. These are people that already have ordinances that limit the number of neighborhoods they can get in. Their business alone limits them on the number of people who are willing to rent to them. And so many of these people have established and have started building in compliance with all these ordinances, and all we're doing is putting everything they've worked for at risk when they obey all the laws. This kind of reminds me of gun laws. You're asking people who are willing to be licensed, willing to obey laws, you're denying them. Meanwhile, criminals don't care. They don't care. They don't care what you say. Okay? These people care what you say. They're the only ones who do. They're the only ones that want to comply with anything you guys have. And if the most egregious thing is gas and grass, then I guess we have to talk to King Soopers and Safeway, because they both have pharmacies and gas stations. If the biggest problem is getting your medication at the same place you get your gas, really? I'm sorry, I don't mean to, we need to focus on regulation and licensing this industry, giving it rules to play by, giving everyone the same structure and the same rules that they have to play the game by. Make it a fair and even thing for all people.
Jaymen, would it be fair to say, because I want to pass this on, I think it's what you told me, that if there's a group of stakeholders that helped with any future planning, that you would be willing to help with that?
I would absolutely, please. I ask you on everything. Please include me in this. I would absolutely love to. I think there's some things that are being overlooked. There's some benefits to the consumption clubs. There are numerous benefits to the medicinal facilities. We don't need to be throwing baby out with the bathwater. I know it's been reiterated over and over again, and I would gladly participate and would very much appreciate being included in on the process.
Thank you. I think we have a question for you.
On the zoning that is available for these places, that the zoning is virtually unlimited as far as the places that they can go. It seems to me like that there should.
Zoning is unlimited.
Well, let me ask the question. Okay. So, the zoning seems to be unlimited. It can go in about every zone that I think exists. It seems to me like one of the things that should be looked at is how many zones that this goes into, and where a manufacturing plant should be as your grow operations, as opposed to Those should, I don't see those in some of these zones. I think that's an issue I think that it would be important to look at is some of the zones.
Zoning, I do understand what you're saying. Now, as far as the retail of medicinal cannabis, there are ordinances that prohibit them from being too close to schools, religious institutions. That already limits the numbers of places they can go to. The other factor that is not weighed in this committee is the number of property owners that are willing to rent to them. So this is already hard enough for them to find locations. Now, MIPS, I understand you have a public safety issue when it comes to MIPS, but MIPS also follow, like it's already been illustrated, they follow even further regulations and further restrictions on where they can operate. And if the city had deemed them to be dangerous to the neighborhoods they're in, they wouldn't exist now. So there's really nothing that, you know, and I heard it stated that you believe this moratorium will not affect the licensed industry, and I have to agree to a certain extent. It won't affect how it is now, but it will affect the local economy. I mean, all you're doing is slitting your own wrists. Like, I mean, the people who have their shops will continue to have their shops, and the businesses that currently exist will continue to have, but you're denying growth, which seems counterintuitive to the purpose of the city, of this council. It just seems like that's not what we're here to do, right? Is to limit growth. Doesn't seem like that's what we're supposed to be doing. Putting a halt to unlicensed industry, I'm 100% behind it, okay? I live in a gray area. I dance in it every day. I don't like it, okay? Show me where the white is, and that's where I'll go, all right? But the people that are actually getting in line to obey your rules, the ducks that are getting in a row, you're punishing them. You're trying to get rid of an enemy with a shotgun. You got too many casualties that are coming, okay? You want to come after me, you can do it more finite. You can come after me. I can be your enemy. Why are they included?
Thanks, Jaymen.
Since
I appreciate your
finished last week, then I would assume it's not on the
Is it the clubs?
Clubs.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I just
and I need you to identify yourself.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my name is Jaymen Johnson. Thank you very much. I'm just trying to understand why a committee wouldn't be formed for the drafting of regulation for cannabis clubs. Why we would do that for medical but not for recreational clubs?
It was not put into the ordinance, so I did not have the authority to do that. Was put into the ordinance. That's going to be voted on today. So I have been working on that in preparation for the medical marijuana, but the other was not. That was not a part of the ordinance that was passed.
So the clubs will only be addressed through zoning. Is that?
It'll go through zoning, and then they will zoning department. It's going through the planning department. Then it'll go to what's the committee? I said commission, planning commission. Planning commission. Then we'll open that up for a public hearing.
The conduct of the clubs is not addressed at this time. There's no regulation for how they operate.
I do not know the answer to your question there.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
My name is Jaymen Johnson. I don't know if you need me to state that again. But,
I've got you down.
Thank you. Most of you know me as a cannabis consumption club owner, but I do have a stake in this subject because I own a doctor's office and have for many years longer than I did the club. I've been in the industry for almost 8 years, the cannabis industry for almost 8 years, the majority of that on the medical side. And I really have too much respect for these people to have them lumped in with us on the consumption clubs. And I think that that's the real subject you guys are trying to address, that the illegal, the black market. Until today, I had not personally heard of a commercial or grow operation, licensed grow operation happening in a residence. This is the first it's been that I know several dispensary owners. I've never heard of that until now. That seems like it's more in league with the gray market. You have the black market, you have the licensed market, and you have the gray market. This can all be addressed. The clubs, the illegal grows can all be addressed more directly with a simple ordinance that cuts off the profits or cuts the motivating factor, which is profits. If you say that anyone possessing or owning a business license cannot gift cannabis with their goods. If you prohibit it in that regard, then you limit the gray market. Black market will probably still exist. The licensed market will definitely thrive, but the gray market would cease to exist. And it seems like the moratorium more is a way to put a bookmark in it and keep people from continuing on while still allowing the existing establishments to operate, which I appreciate at this time, but I would rather see comprehensive regulation go into play in order to address these issues. I'm no happier about them than you are. We don't grow for our club. We don't, my doctor's office, we don't give more than 6 plants as a rule of thumb at our facility. It just seems like that this could be more directly, approached. And I apologize, I'm not able to convey my thoughts as eloquently as the last few gentlemen, but I just think that we're playing games, we're jumping around the subject, we're not doing anything that's really effective. There's a hookah lounge that plans to open here shortly that will allow marijuana consumption. There are head shops that provide cannabis as a gift with purchase. None of this is affected by this moratorium. All we're really doing is affecting people who get in line, put in their applications, pay their fees, and want to open legitimate businesses. That's the only thing we're affecting at this time.
Thank you, Jaymen.
Hi, I'm Jaymen Johnson. I'm the owner of Speakeasy Vape Lounge. Please forgive my voice right now. It's been a crazy day. Wow, this council has addressed social imbalance. Let's see, refugee integration. What else have you guys talked on today? Age acceptance. Wow. My suggestion to this council is that you look over my shoulder. If you'd like advice, I'm sure my community can help you with all those subjects. Let's dissect the logic of the proposal at this time. You seem fit to ban us, then regulate us. Is that the understanding? We are to adhere to the same rules as a bar establishment without any of the privileges. Is that my understanding? I'm to close at 2? I'm to fingerprint myself? I'm to adhere to all the regulation with none of the benefit? That's not the definition of bias? Is that what I'm here to understand? I think that most of the people behind me are doing a pretty good job of illustrating the need, so I won't get into that, okay? But it is a little crazy to me. I want to commend you, Mr. Knight, for bringing your friends and assembling more people than you ever have for this proposition. However, what is interesting to me and almost humorous is that everything that they addressed and all their concerns are the same concerns we addressed with you and the same exact things that we asked you to take into consideration us and handle. We also offered to help you with this, and we were denied that. Instead, we are proposed with a ban that is incomplete. There is nothing about this that is amicable. There is nothing about this that shows consideration to the community behind me. These are your constituents. These are the people who voted for you. These are the people you work for. You don't work for the mayor. You don't work for personal agenda. You don't work for your personal beliefs. You work for the beliefs of the people in your district. If you continue to come after my job, I just may do the same thing.